Okay, so we're going to talk through some tips to help you use a program called Excel. And I know that this is used in the workplace and it's definitely used at university, so it's a really helpful skill to have. So let's crack on.
So here's a table of data that Lindsay has provided me with. My name's Sandra and I'm going to be your resident Excel expert for this activity. Although Lindsay's table is very pretty, there's quite a lot about it that we could alter to make it much more useful to us. So Excel is basically a computerized table that you can format and do lots of interesting things with. And this is really, really good for a sports student because you can rank orders, you can sort things by male and female to see if there are any patterns and those sorts of things. So although I quite like the yellow, you might not like yellow, and the simplest thing to do if you want to change the colour is to click on the box up here with the fill colour, and you can change that to green. The other way of doing that is to click on the cell you want to alter. If you right click, there's all kinds of fantastic things hidden behind the right click button, and you just do format cells, fill, and select your colour. This gives you a lot more options than just clicking up the top, so it's definitely worth considering. So we quite like the green, that's good. We might not want things in bold, so we can just turn the bold off. So click in the cell and turn the bold off. That's nice and easy to do. I also don't particularly like the way these names are arranged. If you notice their first name then surname. Now when Excel sorts things out for you, it'll always sort them by the first thing in the column. So that's not very good. So when you make your columns, make them one column for surname and one column for first name. I'd also take my units good, but I would take the units and I'd put them in with my title. And you'll see why in a minute when we look at my sample sheet. So thigh girth, I've put the centimetres next to it. Arm girth, I've put the centimetres next to it. This means that all my headings are going to be in one row. So in Excel we call columns going downwards and rows going acrosswards. So you're going to hear that information quite a lot. The other thing that's not particularly nice about this table is that the data is to different numbers of decimal places. If you went and watched, say, a long jump competition, they would call out 8.90 metres. That would be a long jump, I think, even for a scientist. The other data you can see is to two decimal places, so we've got 6.53 here, so we ought to record that one as 8.90. Luckily Excel will do that for you. Highlight all the cells you want to be to the same accuracy. Now you definitely need to right click this time to find this option. So you right click, format cells, and then you're looking at number because it's the number you want to format. So number, number again, and two decimal places here. So I can change that figure. Oh, yeah. And if it's on 2 and I hit OK, everything now is to the same degree of accuracy. And as a scientist that would please me. Okay, so what have we done so far then? So far we've looked at formatting cells, we've looked at formatting text, and we've looked at changing cell and text colour.
Okay, so we're going to move on to sorting data now. Now, I think this is to do with what you did with the names, separating the names into different columns. Can you just explain why you did that?
So in Excel it's going to look at our different columns of data and it's going to help us arrange them into different orders. Sorry, got just a quick glimpse of a desktop there. So this is my beautifully formatted table. Those colours I think are much easier on the eyes. Lindsay disagrees, and you can see that surnames and first names are separate. Now I haven't formatted that data properly, so you might want to pause and think about how I could do that. I'll just quickly do it. So highlight the data.
Right click everything right now.
Right click, number, and then number again, yeah. Two decimal places. Okay. And we'll do the same over here. Yeah. So I would do all of that tidying up before I did anything else. Okay. Number, two decimal places. Brilliant. Now Excel's going to really become my friend. So at the moment this is just random. In fact I can't see any pattern to the data at all. Maybe it's ascending order by arm girth, so it's increasing arm girth. I can really quickly get into data sorting. I just highlight the headings. Notice they're all on one line. This is something else you want to do. Oh, yeah. And then I collect data and filter. And now what I've got is a little arrow next to each of my headings, and these are the things I can sort by. So if I click on a surname, and as is the custom I'm going to go in alphabetical order from A to Z. I just click on A to Z.
Oh, and it just does it for you.
So you'll now see that as the first student's A and the last student is W, so that's looking pretty good.
And that's all of their data.
And it's matched
so
all their
all of
data,
this is
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. So and you can check that if you just pick a bit of data, you can check it as you go along. So I might be interested in the performance of the males, so I can just click here and I can sort A to Z, and all the females are now in a group
Okay.
and the male students are in a different
That's
group.
very clever.
So that's good for looking at differences. But probably you'll be most interested in rank order,
Yep.
or looking at how one thing affects another. So we're going to sort by rank order of thigh girth. So we're going to start with the largest number. And you can see now that the data's in a completely different order by thigh girth. And you might then be able to see, oh, actually, is the pattern the same for the arm or not? So once you've got one thing in order, you can start to look at patterns in other things. Let's say you want to sort power, and you want to go the other way around. You just click on here, and you sort power from smallest to largest.
Okay.
This is probably one of the most useful things you can do in Excel.
Really powerful, yeah.
I would say that's really useful. But you've got to get that formatting right in the first place.
Okay.
Otherwise, you won't be able to get there. So, that was, as we said at the beginning, putting data into order. So, the final demonstration in this short session on simple Excel skills is about creating special cells. These are cells that have special functions. They can make your spreadsheet much, much more useful. So here we are back at our friendly sheet, and we're going to be having a look at the right click button again in a bit more detail. So if I pick this figure here, 45, and I right click it and do format cells, you'll see under the number option there's lots of different options for your cells.
Yep.
So a general cell, Excel just decides whether it thinks it's a text or a number. A number cell was where we chose the accuracy of our number.
Yeah.
You can have currency, so if you want to have pound signs in the front of all your information and you don't want to put them all in,
Okay. So
you
a lot
can
of
do
people
that
use
one.
this to manage their finances, right?
Yep,
It's
so
quite
I'm just going to
convenient.
click on OK here and you'll see what it does. So the 45 has become £45.
Okay.
So that's not useful here, but is a useful thing to be able to do generally.
Sure.
So we're just going to go back to general cell and take that away again. I thought you might be interested in percentage cells.
Yep.
So if you've calculated a percentage in your spreadsheet, you could just call it a percentage cell. Now, because this is 45 as a whole number, it's going to give it a percentage of 4,500. Don't worry about that for the moment, but if you have calculated a percentage in your spreadsheet, that's a useful thing to be able to do. The other one I was going to show you was the date cell. So if I go down here and I want my spreadsheet to tell me what the date is, I right click here and I do format cell and I tell it that it's a date cell.
Okay.
And then if I put a figure in here, it now knows that that's a date. That's quite a good thing to do.
Sometimes I've tried putting dates in and it changes the numbers or changes the
Yes,
numbers altogether. It's
that's
really
right,
frustrating.
exactly. So if I'd put this in an ordinary cell, oh, actually, it's done it again. But quite often when you put it in a normal cell, it doesn't like it, so it will bump it out as a date, particularly the 07. It wouldn't be keen on the 07. So a date cell's always a good thing to do, especially if maybe you're going to put screen shots in a report or something like that.
Testing on a different day.
It's good evidence to show what day you've been working on things.
Yeah. Cool.
So behind the right click lie all sorts of delights. So if you don't know what to do in Excel, I've said this already, look at the right click. So that's all we're going to show you for today in terms of charts. So the summary of today's session on organising data in Excel is that we have learnt how to format cells, format text within a cell, and to change cell and text colour. That was the first lot of screen work. We've looked at putting data in a required order and rank order, so alphabetical order or an order of a performance, and then we've looked at creating special cells.